Babes, and welcome to day 9 of the 12 Days of Bookmas. For those that are new around here, the name's Rainy. I read all types of books, primarily fantasy romance, so if you're interested in that, please like and subscribe to my channel down below. In today's video, I will be talking about my reading and channel goals for 2025. We will first start by diving into a reflection where we watch past Rainy's video from last year and see what goals I set for myself then, see if I hit them or not, and then decide what I'm taking away for the new year and what I'm bringing with me into the new year. And let's just say, it's going to be a journey because I have a lot of thoughts on a lot of things this time around when it comes to my goals. So with that being said, let's dive into past Rainy and see what nuggets of wisdom she had to share with the reading goals that she wanted to accomplish in 2024. So let's do a reflection by watching my channel goals from 2024. And I'm not going to lie, I already kind of watched the beginning of this earlier and I was like, oh my gosh, I even hate watching myself from a year ago. Is that wild to me? That might be wild. But let's see what my goals were. I believe I'm only going to set a Goodreads goal of 100 books from here on out because yes, I could do the thing where I bump it up. Like if I read 135 books this year, I could say I'm going to read 136, but I don't want to ever set a goal where I feel like there's a chance I couldn't hit it. Okay, I'm going to stop myself because I already agree with that statement. And I probably will only be setting it to 100 again. And yes, I did exceed my goal. Like last year's was 140. This year is going to be 150 that I've hit. So like, good job to past Rainy. That was a solid goal. They're probably not going to all keep going like that though. What I want to focus more on than books read is pages read, which is why I've decided that next year I want to read a minimum of 100 pages a day. I think that's easily doable. I know some days might be harder than others. Let's just stop right there. Did I hit that? No, not close. There were days that I way exceeded it, and there are many days that I didn't even crack open a book. So needless to say, that's just not possible with two littles. I don't really know what I was thinking there. I was trying to channel my inner Jan Agaton, and that's not valid. I also still want to prioritize BIPOC authors, and I am going to actively be doing that. Like I actually was going to go onto my shelves within the next day or two and figure out all of the books that I have that are BIPOC authors so that I'm actually prioritizing them. 1, I never actually did that, and I should have. 2, I failed epically at this BIPOC one, and I have a very long discussion and thought about my process for next year with that. So I'm going to save that part of my like goal reflection for like the actual revamping of 2025 goals. But just know I have a lot to say on this topic. The trap that I felt myself falling into for last year, because it goes side and side with this, is I used to always set goals like, oh, I have to read a nonfiction, I have to read a memoir, I have to read like some contemporary lit fic. And Cassidy from Covers with Cassidy talked about this in hers. Like I kind of set that, I guess, to be like, oh, that makes me a reader. I can read whatever I want and I'm a reader, okay? If I set that as a goal, sure, that's something I want to add into my reading. It doesn't make me any more or less of a reader than others. And so I do have on here to read 1 nonfiction or self-help a month because I have a lot of memoirs that I haven't gotten to yet. I do have a million on one of those. And honestly, that was really solid advice for past Rainy. However, I did not read. I think I read 1 nonfiction this year. I just didn't do that. I wasn't swinging for them. I just didn't care. It did not go very well. So you know what? That might not be a goal in the future. Might not be. I also put that I just want to read more fantasy romance. I have so many fantasy romance on my shelves that I've been buying myself over the last couple months, and I have not been prioritizing them. And you know what? Next year, I'm in my fantasy romance era. I'm in my romantasy era. I'm going to read whatever I want when I want. I am so happy to say that I way exceeded this one. Like I knocked this one out of the park. I am in my romantasy era. I am nowhere but romantasy era. Goodbye to the old, hello to the new. I'm very happy with this development. I'm also going to actively start DNFing if I don't like a book. The problem I have is I'm always like, oh, if I finish this book, it'll go towards my book count, or I only have 30% left, I can finish it, or I only have to 150 pages left, I can finish it. However, that is the same exact thoughts that I have towards DNFing and the same exact reasons why I don't DNF books. Did I do better this year? Yes. Could I do better? Yes. And I also have more thoughts on DNFing that we'll talk about when we get to the goal setting portion of this video. Also, I'm keeping my series goal, but I'm bumping it up to finishing 20 series. Yes, you heard me. Yes, I already know which 20 series I want to finish. Yes, I have a plan for completing them. We didn't get it done. I didn't follow the plan. I didn't really have a plan, a good plan, if we're being honest. Do I have a much better strategy for series in 2025? Yes. This just, I went further in series and I started a lot of series, but I didn't do this. I also put that I only want to buy up to like 8 books a month outside of subscription boxes that I already subscribe to, because your homegirl bought way too many books last year. Your homegirl bought way even more this year. And I did not follow this. And to be fair, when I was putting this on my like goals, I was like, Rainy, I don't know why you're doing that. Like, we both know you're not going to do that. And like, I also have thoughts on this as well. Let me tell you, when we get to the goal setting portion, it's going to be very chatty. I have many thoughts, many thoughts. But let's just say I didn't do this, and I won't be setting this goal again. I do want to hit 1,000 subscribers. I do. I know I can't control that, but I would love if the 3rd year would be the year. And I think, and it was. I hit 1,000. I started my Patreon. Oh, this year was magical. This was a great year for BookTube. I also want to do 2 videos a week for BookTube and be consistent with them. I was starting to get more consistent towards the end of the year, but I know consistency is key. I'm going to post on Wednesdays. I'm going to post on Sundays. I'm going to do my weekly. I will say I've posted a lot more consistently 2 times a week. It's not always on Wednesdays and Sundays, and it's almost always Wednesday's video will come out. But I'm doing a lot better on that. Like I said, I have more thoughts. I have all the thoughts of what I'm going to do to fix these goals, guys. Okay, friends. So now that we've seen what Past Rainy was saying, let's talk about the goals that I will not be continuing for 2025, okay? So I'm getting rid of the minimum of 100 pages a day. That's just not sustainable with 2 tiny kids and with reading slumps. Like, it just wasn't happening, and I stopped tracking it in my journal after like a month because it just wasn't happening. I'm also getting rid of the read 1 nonfiction a month because I don't want to feel forced to do this. I feel like it should come naturally. Yes, I want to be more well-read, and I feel like reading nonfiction makes me more well-read, but not at the expense of being forced to read something that I'm just simply not in the interest to read. So I'm never going to say, I'm going to read more of a specific genre ever again. Even though it worked out for romantasy, I don't feel like that's a goal that I wish to set for myself. And I'm also not going to do the purchasing books limit, okay? I knew that putting this on my list last year, I was not going to follow it. So I don't know why I really put it. I feel like I felt like I had to because, like, I shouldn't get that many. But, like, what does it matter if I like purchasing books if I can do it? However, I will be more mindful of when I'm purchasing a book, because am I going to actually intend to read it this year? Am I going to read it for content, or am I just buying it because it's the next book in a series and I want to have it on my shelves? Because I don't really think that's fair to do. And there's a lot of books that I did that for this year that I have no intent of reading anytime soon. And so I've been doing that in November and December and only buying books if I'm ready to actively read them. And that's actually been very successful. So I think I'm going to try to stick with that for next year. Now we're going to talk about my goals for 2025. And I have revamped them. I have added some. I have gotten rid of some. And I'm very excited to talk to you all about where I'm at. And if you see me glancing over here, it's because I have my notes right here and I want to make sure that I don't forget anything. But I want to start off by saying my word for the year. So if you don't know, I actually choose a word for every single year. And I've been doing this since 2017 or 2018. And last year's word was believe. I chose it for a lot of reasons. I normally choose it for a more personal reason, but I needed to believe in myself for a lot of things last year, and I do feel like I accomplished that. But this year, the word that came into my mind was intentional. And that word means a lot to me. I want to be more intentional in my life in general. I want to be more intentional in my marriage and my relationship with my kids. I want to be more intentional about the food that I'm putting in my body, more intentional about how I'm actually treating my body and exercising it. I want to be more intentional about where I'm spending my money, especially when it comes to books and finances and just all the things and like what I'm prioritizing. Especially because we have this goal of getting rid of our debt, being able to buy a house. So I want to be able to do these things, right? And then when it comes to reading in BookTube, I want to be really intentional about the books I'm reading and the projects that I'm committing to and the friendships that I'm prioritizing. And I just want to make sure that whatever I'm doing, like I'm doing it because I want to, that there's purpose, there's intent behind it, and I'm not feeling forced to. I'm not putting myself in a box just to fit something specific that I think I have to do, because there's much more freedom behind it that way. And so I just want to go into everything intentionally. And I feel like that's how everybody should, but that is specifically the word that I'm choosing to focus on for 2025. Now with that, goal number 1 is to read 100 books again. Now, that is just my Goodreads goal. I'm always going to set it to that. Do I have a stretch goal? Yes. Am I going to tell you? Sure, why not? It's 200 books. But 100 is really what I'm going for. So if I hit 100, I'll be happy with myself. And goal number 2 is to continue posting on BookTube twice a week. I would ideally love for one to be a sit-down video on Wednesdays and a weekly vlog on Sundays. People that I see do this absolutely amazingly are Alexis from Alexis Fully Booked, Brittany from Brittany Loves Reading, Kirsten from The Reading Nymph, Jan Agaton. They are amazing weekly vloggers and they have themes and I love them and it's fabulous. And so I will link to all of these people down below because I really love watching their weekly vlogs. They're very inspirational to me. And so yeah, I want to continue to be able to do that. I feel like 2 is a great number. I like posting that often, so I'm going to definitely stick with that. Then goal number 3 is to figure out what really works for me when it comes to planning and creating content, right? Because as of right now, any sit-down video that you see like this, I have filmed, edited, and uploaded the night prior. And sometimes it's as late as midnight. Like my Patreon people know because they'll get a video at like 10 o'clock at night saying it's early access for the next day, okay? But honestly, I've been doing that for so long that it doesn't stress me out. It doesn't take me a long time. I live on the edge, okay? Like, we all know I'm a chaotic person, so, like, does this really surprise anybody that that's what I do? No, probably not. That does run into a problem for weekly vlogs, or reading vlogs in general, right? Because I can't just read all the books the night before. Like, that's not gonna happen. Now, a lot of that does have to do with mood reading struggles. I just can't seem to read the books that I want to have in a weekly vlog the week of. I can't do that due to mood reading tendencies. I don't know how Brittany does that. She's like a booktube wizard, I swear. Just like she's a baking wizard. She's really a wizard at all the things she does, honestly. But I'm going to try to start doing what I think will work is to read a month ahead, at least for themed vlogs if possible, if I have specific themed vlogs. And then that'll also give me the space to be able to post weekly vlogs for just the books that I'm reading that are not for a video throughout the week. Because I'm not going to have every single vlog that I do be themed. But if I'm doing a collab, a series on my channel, then like those I can prioritize and read in advance. And then I can also just weekly vlog my mood reads. And I feel like that'll allow me to also talk to you more about the books that I'm reading. Because a lot of these books, and I've read over the year, I haven't shared in vlogs because I didn't have a purpose for them. And I know that most people would say, well, I wouldn't read them then. But like I wanted to read them, so why would I not read them just because I didn't post about them in a vlog? But I would love to have more books in vlogs so that my wrap-ups, like, I don't really have to do anything at all, essentially, because I freaking hate wrap-ups. Goal number 4 of mine is to read what I want, when I want, and to not worry about content, okay? Now, clearly, content is important, and I still need to think about that. I still need to look at my analytics. I still need to do all those things, right? And I have ideas for planned content still, so I'm not saying to get rid of that, but it's getting in the way of what I want to read. So let's take, for example, Goodreads Romantasy. That consumed my entire life for a good 2 to 3 months of trying to catch up and failing epically in certain things. Also, if my camera is shaking a little, it's because the dryer is going off. But that took forever. And do you know what book I wanted to read through all 3 of those months and I still wanted to and I'm finally about to start reading it? Light Lark by Alexis. I just wanted to read that. I knew Sky Shade was coming out and I've been wanting to pick that up and I kept not allowing myself to pick it up because I was like, oh, I have to do content for this. I have to read for Goodreads. I can't do anything else. Do you know how annoying that is when all I want to do is read a book? It's really aggravating that I was forcing my own self not to be able to do that. I am a mood reader at heart. I want to embrace my mood reading tendencies. I want to pick up on books when I want to. I want to join in on FOMO for popular books. I want to buddy read with friends. I want to binge read an entire series if I want to. I want to be able to do these things, and so I want to read what I want when I want. And I think that doing the themed weekly vlogs, like reading for those in advance, will coincide with this and allow me to mood read for the rest of my life. And so I think that those 2 goals in itself are a good pairing to help me achieve what I want to achieve. Goal number 5 is to DNF more, okay? Okay. I need to get out of my own head when it comes to this goal. And I mean, I won't DNF once I even get 10% into a book because I'm like, surely you can finish this book. You've already started this book. Like, there are so many excuses for me. And the main thing is I'm mad that I can't add it toward my Goodreads goal unless I get to over 50%. And you know what, though? I'm spending so much time reading a book that I don't like when I could stop and then easily probably read another book that I really am enjoying and read it quicker, so I'm gaining back time and I can read books faster. And yet in my little pea-sized brain, I'm thinking that this is saving me time. I don't know what I'm thinking it's doing, but it's not doing anything. Because right now, for example, I'm rereading Fourth Wing and I'm loving my life, and I wouldn't have been able to do that if I was still reading the 3 books that I DNF'd before that, okay? So like, DNFing has a purpose, and I need to acknowledge it and embrace it this year. Well, number 6 is a channel goal, and it is to hit 2,000 subscribers. I think that I can do it. Could I hit that with like Clue Readathon and Winterathon and being in Danny's Battle of the Booktubers Championship round? Sure, I think I can. I'm gonna try my best. Do I also have a stretch goal? Yes, and I'm not sharing that with you. But I'm hoping I can break 2,000 this year. Then goal number 7 is to do less readathons. Now, I said that last year, and I did not listen to myself at all. There was one point where I did like 3 or 4 readathons in 1 month. And honestly, that's not realistic. I wasn't achieving or completing any of them. And so it's like I'm making these TBRs, I'm doing all this work, and then I'm not following through on any of it. And I don't know why I'm doing that. That's just a waste of my time, honestly. I want to do the readathons that I'm committing to well and be able to vlog the ones that I'm doing and like actually appreciate them. Like I'm only going to commit to a readathon next year if I'm co-hosting or I'm hosting, or if I absolutely want to participate. Now, I will promote all of my friends' readathons, even if I'm not doing them. I will gladly be sprinters for them. I will do all the things to help my friends with everything. But I really need to openly commit to less readathons. I have to be realistic with myself, and I have to be intentional. See, we're coming back to the word intentional. I need to be intentional with the things that I am choosing to commit to. And with that, that ties into a similar goal, which is that I want to do less collaborations. Now, I'm also being intentional with this, okay? I don't necessarily mean less collabs if they have a purpose and if they align with what I'm doing in this season. Like, if I get asked to do a collab and I can't fit it in, it doesn't have to do with my goals, it doesn't make sense, then I'm not going to say yes to it. But there are collabs that I will do. Like, it just depends, right? So I can say no and not feel guilty about it, and like, I obviously still want to be a collaborative partner. I still want to do a lot of collabs in the community. I just need to make sure that I'm not saying yes to everything because I feel like I'm being obligated to, or that I'll let somebody down if I say no to something at that time. That doesn't even mean that I'll say no forever. Then my next goal is to actually finish series. And now I will say, I have many plans in the work for doing this, including my series bingo board tracker. So if you haven't seen that announcement, I will link to that underneath here because that's the way that I'm gonna combat it the most. That's why I created it, so that I could do it for myself. But series completion and continuation is major on my list for next year, and I have updated my tracker spreadsheet. I am all ready to go. This is gonna be crazy. Now, if you'll notice, I didn't put how many series I wanted to finish because you know what? I have a goal of just completing and continuing on with series and really whittling that down. So we're going to see where it takes me in 2025. Another goal I have is to not buy every single special edition, but also not have a book buying ban, right? Okay, so I've become obsessed with special editions. And the thing is, you don't need every special edition. Especially, you don't need like 5 editions of special editions. Well, unless you're Serpent and the Wings of Night. Let's take a good example. The Fairy Loot Chestnut Springs came out today, and I wanted those so bad. They are so beautiful, but I really couldn't afford it right now. And I just got the Dark and Quirky special editions, and like, those are also stunning to me. So it's like, I already have 3 editions of that series because I have the Mirrors covers, I have the original People covers, and then I have the special edition covers of Dark and Quirky. I don't need 4. I don't need 4, especially because like that's not an all-time favorite series. Like some of those books are, but not all of them are. And then there's other books that I've bought that before I've even read the book. And what if I don't like it? Like, what if I don't like it? And that has happened before. So like, just because a special edition book is pretty doesn't mean you need to own it. And I feel like I'm saying that and I'm not believing that, but like, I need to start believing that. That all comes back to being intentional with your purchases. And then I also want to make more bookish friends. I feel like I tend to be very insular and stick with the same people, and I want to reach out more. I want to talk to more people. I want to collaborate with even more people. And I just really like the bookish community, so I just want to keep continuing to be a part of it. And then my last goal, and I was hesitant on whether I wanted to put that on here, but I want to see a lot of growth next year and push myself. And so I want to post on social media every day. And so if TikTok doesn't go away, then I'm going to choose TikTok as my platform. If it does go away, then I'm just going to alternate between like Instagram and Reels. And I have plans. I want to just see what happens if I commit to doing at least something every day for a year. I feel like I could do it. It's definitely going to be my biggest stretch, but I guess we'll report back in 2026 as to whether I did it or not. And with that, friends, those are my reading goals for 2025. If you got to the end of this, let's put a waving emoji for like friendship. I don't know, because that's just what I think of, like we're waving hello to each other. Let me know your biggest goal that you have for yourself for 2025. If you actually set reading goals for yourself for 2025, let me know all of the things. And then I just want to shout out all of my patrons and residents. I love you so very much. If you're ever interested in joining that, you can find out all the information about our friends themed Patreon right underneath this video. And make sure that you follow me, subscribe so that you don't miss future videos. And with that, I'll see you guys in a video very soon. Bye.